I saw this great challenge on Instagram about making soup every weekend. And the author was Le Chef's wife. She is the wife of a French chef. And she was talking about her French grandmother and how she would make soup probably every day. And it got me thinking about me, and I also had a French grandmother, and I tell you, they lived on soup. They ate soup 12 months a year, even when it was 110 degrees in Chico, California, they were having soup at lunchtime. I'm probably not going to do that, but I love the idea of hot, savory meals in the winter. It's actually less work for your body, and it can just be really nourishing in so many ways. So, challenge accepted, and I'm going to make soup every Saturday or Sunday, and then what's going to happen is we're going to eat it for the next couple of days, and then we'll get sick of it, and then there'll just be a bunch that I can freeze, which is going to make a great freezer meal. So, follow along. But first, I have to show you my Christmas present from my husband. And we also gave these to our kids. It's a Le Creuset. I'm not exactly sure how to say it, and I've had one since I was 30 years old, but I also didn't pay a whole lot of attention in high school French, so that's on me. But anyway, I love this. It's a Dutch oven. It can go from stovetop to oven, and I'm gonna make Julia Child's beef bourguignon, which I probably also really botched the pronunciation of that too, but I know it's gonna be good, so follow along. So what I started with was ghee, and that's what's going in my new Le Creuset before the beef goes in. I normally use clarified butter with just about everything I saute. This is a Kirkland signature. It's organic, it's grass-fed, it's absolutely amazing. Then what I did is I put my steak tips in, or you could use a rump roast. You know, it doesn't have to be an expensive cut because it's gonna be cooking for 2 to 3 hours, and that's what's gonna make it a lot more tender and savory and all of those things. So I have sauteed these up. I've pulled it out of the pan. Next, going into the pan is gonna be my carrots and my onions, but I'm also kind of throwing in some stuff that is just about to die in my refrigerator. So I think I've got a parsnip in there and some celery left over from something over the holidays. So throwing it all in. Okay, so I am bubbling away, but there's 2 ingredients that I don't have that this recipe calls for. One is dried orange peel. So here's what I'm gonna do. I just washed this blood orange, and I'm just going to use my microplane and just do a little grate of some orange peel in there. It's gonna really give it a nice bright flavor, and I think it's gonna really make the tomatoes taste super yummy. Here's the other thing I don't have, tomato paste. I know, my pantry really needs some help, but I had some leftover Rouse marinara sauce, so it's calling for a couple of tablespoons. So I'm just gonna add maybe 2 or 3 tablespoons of this marinara sauce. It's gonna give it great flavor and great color, and nothing goes to waste. So next up, a little salt and pepper, and then I'm tossing it covered. That's a mistake I made last week at my mom's house. I didn't cover it. So here's the thing. It's gotta be covered in the oven, 325 for like 2 to 3 hours. Because it's a cheaper cut of meat, it's tough. So with the cover on, after cooking for 2 to 3 hours at low heat, low temp, it is so tender that you can actually cut it with a fork, which is what you're looking for. So don't make my mistake, always cook it covered. All right, I've brought this to a simmer. Now I'm gonna put the lid on, and the whole thing goes in the oven 2 to 3 hours. There's one more step before we serve it, and I'm actually gonna saute a bunch of mushrooms in butter and a lot of garlic, and then I'm gonna stir that in at the end. If I add the mushrooms now and then cook them for 2 to 3 hours, they will just disintegrate, which nobody's gonna wanna eat that. Even my husband, who acts like he likes everything I make, he might even say something, so we don't want that. And there you have it. I wish you were here, but then I'd have to share, so never mind. It's full of vegetables because, again, I cleaned out my refrigerator, but it's hot, it's savory, it's a great comfort food, and it just feels so nourishing to my body to eat hot foods in the winter. So hope you give it a try.